Classes in session, college basketball hitting the book show Tuesday, December 2nd. Ian Cameron, Connor Mack ready to break down the Tuesday college basketball slate, headlined by a bunch of ACC versus SEC matchups. The ACC-SEC Challenge taking place tonight, so we got a lot of those games on tap. We've got some pretty big games, which we'll spotlight here in the early going. And then, as always, we will run down the bets and the other games that we like here for this Tuesday college basketball card. So we'll get into it. We're going to do, this is the segment that we're going to be doing this season on the show. We can't talk every game on the board, but what we will do is we will do this segment called the Starting Five. And what the Starting Five will be is basically 5 of the biggest games, the most marquee games on the slate for this particular day or night. So we always pick 5 games to talk about, whether we have a strong opinion on them or not. We'll begin today's Starting Five with Tennessee and Syracuse, where we have Tennessee about a 7.5, 8-point road favorite, 147. Now, keep in mind, we're getting into a lot of, neutral court stuff is pretty much done now, at least for the holiday season. You're going to get some more probably later in December when we get closer to Christmas. But for now, you're going to see a lot of, home games, true home games. And that's what we've got here in this game. Syracuse here at the Carrier Dome hosting Tennessee. Syracuse, I'm not totally convinced how good they are just yet. They've had some ups, they've had some downs, but they did take Houston, to overtime in Las Vegas in that recent Players Era tournament. Made a pretty good effort in that game when you look at it. Tennessee is definitely the better team. There's no doubt. I worry a little bit about Syracuse being able to handle the length, the size, especially in the paint that Tennessee has. I think that could be a bit of a problem for Syracuse in this matchup. But you are talking about Tennessee laying a significant number on the road against a Syracuse team that was good enough in Las Vegas to give the mighty Houston Cougars a really tough game. It's a very tough spot. It's a tough game for me, I should say, because spot says Syracuse. The point spread, I think, has some value towards Syracuse as a home dog. But I really think this is a matchup they could struggle with. So the matchup to me says Tennessee. So it's tough. It's probably going to be a game I ultimately don't get involved with too much. I'd lean slightly here. Not a big bet, but I think this game might get over the total. I know Tennessee can play good defense, but I think they're going to score at will in the paint because I don't think Syracuse can contain them down there. And I think at the same point in time, Syracuse offensively, at least a little more chance for some success with their shots falling here at home. So a little small bet on the over, but nothing for me on the side. Anything for you, C-Mac, that you like here with Tennessee, Syracuse?
Yeah, with Syracuse, team do we get here? The few other games kind of blowouts. They lost to Iowa State after that game, a couple after Houston. It's tough, too. That's why this number's gone up. Their leading scorer out here, right? Freeman for Syracuse.
Yes. Yeah, he's not playing.
Not good, even though they're at home. And I got to see more from them, kind of consistently with this team. You brought up the over. I kind of thought, maybe. I didn't love it, though. I'm not, I don't have a bet on it. But, and I don't know. I don't think Syracuse is very good defensively, so far. The numbers. It's just stuff to a little bit to shake out. And Tennessee, is the better team. It's just, do you want to lay?
I'm not sure Tennessee is quite as good defensively in the last few years either. That
could be true as well. It's just so early. I'm talking. I hate. It's just what are these teams a little bit that it's got to shake out for me a little bit, especially just at least for me to want to get rolling to put money on it. You know what I mean? Especially when we have so many games. So
no doubt. Yeah.
Yeah. The numbers still look all right, but is their defense really, really great? We will see.
Shout out to Timothy in the chat. Swag, good to see you. FB Gotti, Jerry Davis, and look who's here. Fat Wally, guy that I was able to meet, of course, years ago down in San Antonio at the first edition of the Pubapalooza. I remember that. So good to see you, Fat Wally. Hope you're doing well.
Wally, my man.
Yeah, no doubt. Hope you're doing good health. You're in good health, good spirits, and doing well. It's great to see you in the chat.
Great guy.
Yeah.
I love Fat Wally. Shout out to my guy, Fat Wally.
I remember talking to him when I was there in San Antonio. Couldn't agree more. Great guy.
Yes.
Guy. All right, Iowa, Michigan State. Big Ten action here. We got Michigan State 4.5-point home favorites, 153 the total. I'm on Iowa here. I just buy into I love the coach here for Iowa. I know Michigan State's looked pretty good here in the early part of the season. You ask yourself, is Iowa ready, to take on a team like Michigan State? But I love the hire they made of bringing in Ben McCollum as the head coach, guy that did a great job with Drake when he was there. Knows how to get his team ready. I know for big time situations, big games like this. He's coached in NCAA tournaments past. 6-1 against the spread for Iowa. They've been undervalued from day one. I'm not surprised. They're just so well better coached under McCollum compared to Fran McCaffrey. Like, it's night and day how much better of a coach he is, compared to Fran McCaffrey. And they're playing some defense, which you knew they would. Ben McCollum is a guy that wants his team to rebound, play good defense, slow down the pace a little bit. And I think definitely that's helped Iowa. Obviously with Iowa, the concern is what's their best win so far? Maybe Ole Miss and maybe Xavier. They haven't faced a litany of tough teams, whereas Tom Izzo, as always, has gone out there and had his team play a lot of good teams. Arkansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, Michigan State's tested themselves pretty well. That being said, it's a conference game. There's, Iowa taking the road. We'll see. I know, it's not easy. You go on the road, and they haven't been on the road a lot this year. Going to the Breslin Center, it won't be easy, but I'll take my chances. I think Iowa's good enough to compete in this game that I'll take the 5.5, 6 with the Hawkeyes. C-Mac, what do you think here in the Big Ten? Iowa, Michigan State.
I mean, it's a little bit. I think this Michigan State team at home is better. I think the line's a little too far out here, though. That it's crept a little bit too much, because you know why? Iowa. This is for weirdly. You want even the last few years before the new head coach. They kind of would struggle on the road. They have not struggled at Michigan State. It seemed like the last 3 or 4 years.
No.
They've had plenty of success. You know why they can stay in this game? The shooting. Good shooting, good free throw team. They're better than Michigan State. I think Michigan State has the better defense here. I love what I've seen from Michigan State so far this year. And Iowa, 6-1 ATS, like you're talking about. Who have they beat? Like the Ole Miss win was solid. Not the best shooting at Grand Canyon. A tough team, by the way, which I'm sure we'll get into plenty on this show throughout the year in Grand Canyon. So, yeah, it's kind of who they played. Obviously, Michigan State, a little tougher competition. UNC, Kentucky, and looked really, really good in those games. Took care of business. But in those games, a dog, and then basically just win the game, right?
Yep. Against
North Carolina. So that's the only thing here. I think Michigan State at home kind of backed them, but this could be a little bit, especially if they have the lead and shots drive, a little wild game. So this is one that it caught my at least to watch. You know what I mean? Tonight.
Well, they've covered five of the last 6 meetings, Iowa, against Michigan State as well, including 3 straight here at Michigan State, and that was McCaffrey and these bad Iowa teams.
Yeah,
they've had bad defense. Now you got a team that's coming in actually playing a little bit of defense. So I think this is a close game. They won twice here in the last 3 years, and then the only time they lost by 2. So Iowa's been right in the game every single time the last few years here at Michigan State. So that's why I like them here, plus the points. And what do we say? When we say someone's a great guy, we're not telling any fairy tales or fables. Fat Wally gifting a one hitting the books membership. Great stuff. Told you. We don't tell any lies or fairy tales here. We say someone's a good guy, we mean it. And he is.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Wally. Yeah. Appreciate you, my man. Thank you.
Great stuff. All right, next up, we've got Florida and Duke. This is Dan Schulman and Jay Billis, the A team for ESPN, calling this one at Cameron Indoor. We've got Duke 8.5-point home favorites, 156.5 the total in this game. Now, I'm on Duke, but I got Duke at 6.5. 8.5, 9. It's getting a little rich, but Florida ain't the same. Not quite compared to last year. I think that much we figured out here early in the season. With that loss to TCU, that's no disrespect to TCU, but that, and there's been other, instances when Florida just hasn't looked nearly as on top of it. which you'd expect. You'd expect some kind of a, hangover, after winning the national championship. Their backcourt's still a little dicey because that's where they lost a lot from last year. They got a good front court, obviously, and still a lot of size down low. But like I said, the guard play hasn't always been great early on here for Florida. Duke, you look at them, obviously they got one hell of a battle, one hell of a scare from Arkansas in the Thanksgiving game last Thursday. That was one heck of a battle that Arkansas put up. But, Duke at home, chance to, face the defending national champions. I think they're going to seize that opportunity. I do like them to win by margin, but, the number's up to 8.5, 9 now. So it is admittedly getting rich, but I did bet Duke at a better number. C-Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, is this a spot where Florida gets, their ass waxed, as we like to say? They do it. One thing, I think they have some depth, and they're trying to figure out. They have some big guys, does Florida, on this team. Can they hit the glass here? Duke, of course, solid. Foster's really good. Boozer, I think, what do you have? 35? Was that the last game? I believe he had 35 points.
Yeah, Carlos Boozer's kid looks like he's going to be a good one.
Yeah, he, I know, looking like his old man.
Well, of course, his name's Cameron. Of course, he's good.
Anyways, yeah, it's just too rich here for me. Like, the spot's good. And this is the thing before we get, when we get to those neutral games in Christmas and the January is kind of when that dull moment of some of these home games where there might be at Duke usually no matter what, and that's about gym, everywhere's packed, but the kids will be gone, the students, you know what I mean? But they're here for another 3 weeks, I believe. They leave right before Christmas, so place should be rocking and rolling. It's just, it's too far out there for me. And if you believe in Duke,
Walton Clayton and Elijah Martin, bingo, Jerry.
Oh, well, yeah, shit.
Those are guards that don't walk around. They don't fall off the turnip truck. They don't.
And they're unbelievable, which it showed last year, Bavano, in March.
Yeah.
Like Walker with you. When you have an unbelievable guard, they could take over tournaments.
Right.
All neutral.
When your team's leaving oil and scuffling, and a guy can just make tough shots, contested shots, and bail you out. They don't have that right now at the guard spot. They just don't.
That's true. Yeah. They don't. And his first real true road game for Florida. Correct.
Yeah. It is. I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that. Yeah, they have not had been any road at Miami, but that was a neutral. That was definitely
a neutral. Yeah,
was at the ViStar Memorial Arena in Jacksonville. So that was in the state, but it was a neutral court, not a true road environment. So this is the first road game this year. Yes, for Florida.
I can see why it's creeped out here. With Duke.
I agree. All right, next up, North Carolina and Kentucky. Dickie V in the booth for this one. We've got Kentucky 5.5, 6-point home favorites, 163.5 the total. I like the favorite. I like the over. I like Kentucky here. I think it's a buy low opportunity. I'm going to have to see what North Carolina can do in the step up, opponent. They haven't fared very well in some of these games here so far this season. We remember the Michigan State game just recently, and they got their clocks cleaned in that game, 74-58. They did beat Kansas, early in the season, but that was at home, at the Dean Dome there in Chapel Hill. And I'm pretty sure that, it was a really advantageous spot there for North Carolina. And I like North Carolina there, but I don't think I like them here too much on the road. They, last year as well, had some bumps in the road on the road. Kentucky, I think this is a big, important game for them because they've had 2 challenges already against teams that are considered pretty good tournament, caliber teams, and they lost both of them. They lost to Michigan State by double digits, and they lost by 8 to Louisville in those 2 games, Kentucky. So I think there's onus on them to step their game up. They are still a bit banged up. They've had to deal with injuries. Mark Pope's been very honest, talking about the fact that his team is going to be better once they get everybody back. I mean, they've had Jalen Lowe, Jaden Quaintus, both, dealing with key injuries that have kept them out of the lineup. So again, this is not the fully healthy, Kentucky Wildcats team that we're going to see later in the season. But that being said, at Rupp Arena, a chance to finally get a good team coming to their building, and really a North Carolina team that away from Chapel Hill based on what I saw against Michigan State, I'm not ready to trust them. So I like the spot here for Kentucky. The price is reasonable. I'd like it closer to 3 or 4 than 5.5, but at 5.5, I still laid it with Kentucky. I like this over too. I think this both teams could score enough to get into the mid 160s here. And I agree with the move on the total as well. C-Mac, what do you think here? North Carolina, Kentucky.
Is this game? Are there 6s out here? Sorry, I was pulling this back.
6.5, 7 now.
6.5, 7.
There were 5.5s, and looks like those have been gobbled up.
I can't take Kentucky at home. I can't do it here. I still think, even though they're super talented, I haven't bet this. I look at North Carolina here. I just think it's a big game. They struggle. They haven't shot the 3 well at all, and they still have problems defensively. At times, both these teams, I think, will have a struggle. That's why we have this total, obviously, too. I think it's a little bit too much here. I'm leaning North Carolina. 7.
All right, good stuff. All right, last game for the starting 5, UConn and Kansas. This will be a good one there at the Fog Allen Fieldhouse. UConn 2.5-point favorites, 142.5 the total here in this game. Obviously, UConn is they've tested themselves a little bit here in the early going as well. When you look at Dan Hurley's schedule here in the early part of the year, we saw them obviously play Arizona. They lost that game. Played Illinois their last game. They ended up with a nice 74-61 win there. They played BYU and ended up escaping with an 86-84 win. So they've tested themselves a good amount early on. You can definitely say that about Kansas. North Carolina, Duke, Notre Dame, Syracuse, Tennessee, all on their schedule. Kansas has won 3 in a row. It was a pretty good showing for them in Las Vegas at the Players Era tournament. We'll see if they can carry that success over here into this game against the UConn Huskies. One thing that's important to point out is obviously their best player by far, Darren Peterson, still out with a hamstring injury and not returning tonight for this game against UConn. So we'll see how that affects them here in this game. It's UConn where, they played, like I said, they've been challenged, UConn, with BYU, with Arizona, and with Illinois. That being said, the Illinois game was in a neutral at Madison Square Garden in New York. The Arizona game was a home game, and I believe the BYU game was a neutral court game as well for UConn. Have not been in a true road game yet this year, the UConn Huskies. So, Kansas, we'll see. UConn might be able to get the win here on the road, but I'm not there with being comfortable laying 2.5 with UConn on the road. And I know Dan Hurley has voiced some early season. We have some maturing to do. We have some growing to do. That's not exactly the quotes of a head coach where I'm comfortable laying 2.5 with his team in a tough environment like this. I know Kansas doesn't have Peterson, but they found ways to win without him. And I think from a value standpoint, the value probably is a little bit on Kansas, and I do lean in that direction. C-Mac, what do you think here? UConn to Kansas.
Yeah, some of these numbers are pretty good, I think, for UConn, especially defensively, early in these games. I still think they need to find an offense. I've been a little surprised. Always when the best player is out, who scores more, it's just everyone else has to do a little bit more. That happened, in Tennessee in that game. I mean, Jackson, I think he's off the bench. He had 17 points. It was a real good team effort where they're getting some guys coming in. UConn might be better. No way I'm laying points to them. Give me Kansas here, plus 2.5. I'll take it all day at home in what could be a tight game. I want the points here. I want Kansas.
Yeah, I think especially now that you can get 2.5. Like, we're in a scenario, UConn wins it at the buzzer, and you can still cash your bet with Kansas if they lose by 2. So, like I said, 2.5, I definitely think it would be Kansas. I'll probably end up betting Kansas now that number has hit 2.5. All right, C-Mac, let's go to you first. Games that we haven't talked about, all the other games on the Tuesday slate. What stands out to you? What do you like?
Yeah, I'll rip through just a few before I throw it. this is a lean for me. I kind of like Florida State here at home. This team's, just after a bad loss, they're horrible defense. They're just the last few years. This team's just like a yo-yo. You know what I mean? Like they've been tough to figure out. But at home, I think they can get the job done there. Here's what I'm on. Here's a total I'm on. I've been light on totals to get going, but getting the pace, getting what we've seen, the shot selection, the whole game
before you're just pepper the board with totals bets. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not doing a ton, but this one stood out to me. I'd love if this was, a little bit lower. It's come down just a point, half a point. Is Edwardsville, North Florida. North Florida wants to go. The Florida teams, look at the pace of play going through all today. Every Florida team's like in the top 30. It's almost. It's crazy.
Sessions per game. It's crazy.
Yeah, South Florida, every Florida. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Florida Atlantic, actually one of the slower ones so far this year, but they don't play much defense. Edwardsville's right in the middle, 250s on pace of play, but their defense has been awful. North Florida, these teams have shot the ball all right as well. I was thinking just North Florida's team total because I think that gets there, but I'm on this over here. I bet it. So there you go. It's my best bet. Edwardsville, North Florida over 153.5 in that game.
All right. Good stuff.
That's it. There's other games here. We talked Washington State. They lost. I thought they played better basketball. Remember that Arizona State? Maybe it was last week. They just covered. Remember that game as favorites by a half point. They've been able to score a little bit better. I trust them enough here. The plus 7.5. I looked at them a little bit, but no bet there.
All right.
That's about it.
I'll rhyme off rapid fire because, again, it always gets worse, the coughing, as we get to the evening. That's the way.
You got some antibiotics?
Yeah, we've used.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Now all of a sudden, it's darkness is here, and that's when my coughing gets worse. Sometimes.
Yeah. Always the sickness at night, for sure.
At night. So I'll rhyme it off quickly, and then we'll get out of here. Campbell. I've been fading Penn State as big favorites all year at home, and it keeps cashing for the most part. They haven't been great laying double digits. I took Campbell, the Fighting Camels, plus 14 against Penn State. Bill and his bitch versus Duquesne. I like the dog. I like the over. I think William and Mary's playing well. I agree with the move on the points there with William and Mary in that game, and I think it's
real quick.
So I agree with the total move too.
You're probably going to hit this. You got to be fading Loyola Chicago again, right? You're taking Central Michigan? Yeah. Okay. I understand that. I had a feeling.
I mean, you're getting 6.5, 7 in some spots with Central Michigan. I know Central Michigan's kind of up and down, but and Loyola's going to win a game at some point, but I don't think
by margin. Yeah,
one point spread cover this year. One win this year. One win, and it was a 2-point win as a 17.5-point favorite at home against Cleveland State. That's it. And they haven't covered, and they didn't even come close to covering. They were 17.5-point favorite. They won by 2. That's their only win this year, Loyola Chicago. So I'm okay taking 6.5 with Central Michigan. Yeah, just keep fading them for me until they show you something. No doubt. What else? Mercer, Georgia State over. I like that one a little bit. I think that one can get over the total. The Butler did it. I laid it. Butler has covered every game, and then I've been on a lot of these Butler games. Now, I'm worried this could be the night. That maybe they don't cover. Because I'll say this about Eastern Michigan. That's a feisty little team. They beat Cincinnati, just recently, Eastern Michigan. So, but Butler's been good to me. They've been winning games by margin, so I still took them. That's a game I think the over could be worth a look in as well. Sacramento State, Baylor. There's an over I like. They're not playing any defense, Sacramento State, and they're playing with pace. So I think Sacramento State, Baylor's a game that could have points in that game. I don't love the spot for Marquette. I don't know how good Valpo is, but I dabbled in Valpo at plus 17.5 against Marquette. With Marquette facing some Big East games and bigger competition coming up. So took Valpo there in that game. Murray State, I laid it. I think they're really tough at home. I think they're going to, run away with it against Moorhead. And I like the over. This has been a 7-1 to the over this year, Murray State. Scored 85 points in every game here, Murray State, especially at home. The Racers, they're putting the Racers in their name because they are racing. They're playing a lot more tempo and pace this year, Murray State. So I like them laying the points as well as the over in that game. I like Notre Dame. Sneaky play because Notre Dame, we don't know how good Notre Dame is, but do we know how good Missouri is? I think Missouri might be a little bit more talented, but Missouri's faced nobody. They faced everyone at home except one team. Now they're going on the road for the first time. So I think that could be a little bit difficult for Missouri. So, I like Notre Dame there at around a pick 'em, even money there, money line against Missouri in that game. I agree with the money to Ole Miss against
Yeah,
me.
I was looking at that.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss gets the win there at Miami. I think, they're still learning with Jai Lucas, their new head coach. Georgia, Florida State, I'm with you. I like the over too, but man, that total's really blown up.
Yeah,
175, 175.5. That is pretty damn high, but I still like the over. I'm fading Nevada. I know their money's coming in on Nevada. People think they're a couple better performances. I'm still not ready to lay 6.5 with fucking Steve Alford. No chance. So, like I said, give me UC San Diego.
I thought they were playing over their head. I was shocked early in the year. I'm like, no way this Nevada team's that good. Like the first 4 or 5 games. They're coming back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah. And they haven't been great as home favorites, so I'll take a shot with them. I'll take Utah +9 rivalry game against Cal. I think that could be worth a look. Here's the one I'm on the fence with.
Okay.
I badly want to fade USC. Badly want to fade USC. They're coming off Maui, winning that damn thing. They won the Maui Invitational too. I fade teams coming off the Maui trip every single year. I can't do it here. Oregon is bad. They are riddled with injuries. The big guy, Nate Biddle, is probably not playing again for them. And he is such a big part of what makes them go. And they cannot score consistently. They have real offensive problems, Dana Altman and his Oregon team. Like, I really want to fade USC in this spot. I just don't think I can because I think USC just the much better team, until they get some of these injured guys back. Again, I think there will be a time to bet Oregon. There always is with Dana Altman. There will be a time where there'll be value with Oregon, and they'll start to play better, and they'll be undervalued, and they'll go on an ATS run. I think we just have to wait a little bit longer for it because I just think they're too depleted right now. So, if I had to, I'd lean Oregon, but I just don't trust it enough because of just how much they're struggling and how banged up they are.
That's how I feel. I wouldn't be.
I would not be taking USC in this spot.
I tell you. Hey, do what you want. I think people are really high on them right now. I don't think they're great defensively. They've been played well offensively.
They're not, because we know Oregon's not good offensively right now.
Yeah, right now they've struggled defensively too in those games.
Yeah,
as well. So, man. God, Oregon's really owned them too, especially at home. That should be a great watch late. You know what? We'll hit on this last game. I want to move on Loyola Marymount here. St. Louis is the better team,
but tough travel all the way out west. Yep.
Out west, I think Loyola Marymount still so far, has been a decent shooting team, and St. Louis is super talented. I think they beat Santa Clara. I think that was on a neutral, right? By one, St. Louis earlier. I mean, they have looked sharp. Just lost to Stanford, by one. I think this game just, though, in the end is tough that the number was just a little bit high, too. And, it's come down to 6.5. This maybe could come down to 6, open 7.5. I think Loyola could be live tonight. I like it.
Added board, I like Greensboro in the rivalry game in state against Asheville. I know Greensboro has struggled, but it's not like Asheville's great. Asheville's only 3-4. I know Greensboro's 1-7, but
both have struggled.
You're getting points. I think 5.5 with UNCG, Greensboro. I like that side there in that game. The only other couple I like on the added board is I like Wagner. Just maybe a little flat spot, dead spot for Maryland. It's a lot of points for them at home. That Wagner might be able to stay inside that big number. And also Houston Christian plus the points against North Texas. It doesn't look like North Texas is nearly as good as they've been in some recent years. I think Houston Christian may be catching few too many points. Long Island is a home dog against Winthrop. I like that one a little bit. And last but not least, the over in the Nichols State Creighton game. I think that game could go over the total. So those were my added board looks there for tonight. And last but not least, from Nick, good question. We want to answer the viewer question when we see it. Pitt or Texas A&M? Texas A&M for me, but the problem is it's moved a ton. You know, it was like pick 'em -1 when I got on it, and now it's 3.5. You know, so it's already moved quite a bit. I lean over to buckyball at A&M. They're playing way faster, shooting a lot of threes. Typical Bucky McMillan basketball from when he coached at Samford. So lean over. I like A&M, but you're not getting the best number. That's the problem.
I know A&M's look so dominant. Offense has kind of come alive a little bit. It's just a tough road game here. Problem with Pittsburgh, they got to play good defense here at home. They struggle to score. That's it. Even in the Ohio State game, the numbers weren't great.
Buzzer beater too. That bothers me about Pitt in this spot. Maybe a little bit of a letdown, come down spot after the buzzer beater at home to beat Ohio State.
And these are these classic moves we see. I mean, just all the money on and moves 3.5 points. Yep. That's what's so great. You get on them. You know, you love them early. You get them just to win. Now, you know, at a pick 'em now it's 3.5. Do you still trust this team that's been playing well as of late? So yeah, Pitt. I got to see a little bit more from this team, but yeah, kind of a tough spot, you know, for A&M. A lot of hype, a lot of Aggie hype.
Keep in mind, guys, we have like 3 full months of college basketball regular season ahead, so we got lots still ahead. Like we got the whole conference season coming up. It's pretty crazy to see conference play already starting in the Big Ten. Like you got Michigan, Iowa State tonight. You've got USC, Oregon. Like we got conference games already starting up here tonight. So
I do. I love it. Come on. I'm so glad we got some good conference games on tonight, you know.
Yep. And then it'll ramp up even more later in the month. SEC, ACC, those conferences will get into conference games. And then by January, everything is going to be conference games by that point for sure. Good stuff. All right. That's a wrap. Thanks to everyone for tuning in as always. Hit the like button. Yeah, we already mentioned it, Jeff. Penn State look ahead. I'm on Campbell. Plus the points there against Penn State tonight.
Good stuff. It. Go Campbell.
That one's starting pretty soon. That one's off the board in 15 minutes, top of the hour.
Another one is going to pop off. You think Bryant laying 6.5? Stonehill?
Not the same Bryant team, but Stonehill have to trust. That's the thing.
I know. Yeah. That's the lone thing when I was going through that.
I think they have it right betting the under because Bryant's playing way slower than they have in the past.
Yeah. Stonehill's it's got to be near the bottom.
Yeah.
Too. Like, right? Like, kind of normally, I would think.
I get why people like the under there. I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what that's the lean for me. I'd lean under. I'd lean Stonehill if I had to, but I don't. It's tough.
Yeah.
I'd keep it really small. I know I don't want to lay 6.5 with Bryant. That much I know. Good stuff, C-Mac. Let's wrap it up. Best bets. What do you got for best bet for tonight?
Well, I'll give you some. You know, I'm on Kansas there. I think I'm going to be on Loyola Marymount late, but I bet this early in the day. Edwardsville, North Florida, over 153.5. I got to take it. I think it gets there in the end. Over.
There you go. Edwardsville, North Florida, over for C-Mac with best bet. My best bet, I'm going to go with 2. Because I can't decide between them. 2 dogs. I like them both. You can still get 6 at a couple spots here. I like William and Mary. You're getting +6 against Duquesne. I think those teams are a lot closer than this number. This number was as high as 7.5 earlier today. I think Bill and Mary is very live in that game. Both teams good offensively. I think we have a close game there. So I like Bill and Mary in that game +6 against Duquesne. The other one I'll go with is our favorite whipping boy in college basketball this year. We're going to fade him again. Central Michigan +6.5. Loyola Chicago, who have still yet to cover a point spread this season. So 2 dogs, William and Mary +6, Central Michigan +6.5 for my 2 best bets here for this Tuesday in college basketball. Oh, one last question from Jeff. What do you think about Cornell team total under after scoring? Yeah, I don't disagree. George Mason, Tony Skinn, great head coach. They slow it down. They defend. They don't play fast. I think Cornell's going to find it much tougher sledding offensively tonight against George Mason on the road too.
Yeah,
I like it.
I mean, yeah, it's a thing. If they get over their team total, they probably cover. But I don't know if that can happen So yeah, I think that's a tough spot. I don't want Cornell on the road. George Mason at home. I like it. I like to play. Jeff.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. We're back tomorrow. Members only. Become a member. Hit us up. Become a member. Become a subscriber of the Hitting the Books channel, and so that you can join us for our members shows Wednesdays, Fridays, every week, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Tomorrow we'll look at NBA, college basketball, NHL. Look ahead to Thursday night football, NFL on the members show tomorrow. And boy, it's a dandy. Thursday night this week. Dallas and Detroit, a huge game, huge playoff implications. Both teams need the win. So that's coming up tomorrow. We'll break that game down. And then Friday, we'll be back with another members-only show, weekend college football, college basketball, NBA, NHL, and, of course, look ahead to Sunday NFL on the Friday show.
Yes.
So become a member to join us for those two shows.
Friday shows, always my favorites. I will have the individual college games out just soon as I'm done here in a little bit. I'll get these 9 games out as well. But yeah, and also coming weeks we will have, we'll go over those bowl games like we talked about. Not next week, wait a week. And after that, we will have college basketball Mondays and maybe even Thursdays, depending on how, going forward. So I just want to put that out to everyone as well. So there will be more of those. And then, of course, member shows. But thank you to everyone. Everyone that hits the like button, subscribe, especially my members in the green. Shout out to my guy, Wally.
Yeah.
Wally, if he's ever good enough, he's got to get out to Vegas. It's for years and years, my guy. I'm hoping that day will be soon. He knows that. So shout out to my guy, Willie.
Nobody's
Wally,
going to Las Vegas these days, but CMAC expects you there, Fat Wally.
Yeah, well, I want him there. So he's healthy enough. Dude, yeah, we'll have a whole weekend of gambling.
You can't draw flies to Las Vegas right now.
I know.
Come on out, Fat Wally. CMAC wants you.
It's overdue, this trip. So shout out to my guy.
Yeah, it's hurting. Man, it's hurting now trying to get people out there to Las Vegas. It's pretty crazy.
It's hard when you treat the people.
Yeah.
So, but that's what Vegas so great is. They treat you, lose money, you get comps. You do this. It's a whole different game. You come here, man. You haven't been here in a while, right?
Take care of you when you went there. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Not anymore. Days are over.
Not anymore. Tough
Tooth for a
times.
tooth and an eye for an eye. Now, did you go to Las Vegas?
Yes, definitely.
All right. Good stuff. Great show for Connor Mack. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll be back tomorrow. Members only. Hitting the Books. Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Until then, class dismissed.
Peace.